Hello, everyone, and good evening. Thanks for joining us in our expert talk. I am Anamika, and I welcome you all to today's webinar on Agile and Scrum, the secret to high performance. Today is all about uncovering two of the most common approaches to project management that are Agile and Scrum. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our speakers for the session, Mr. Kalyana and Mr. Raju. Mr. Kalyan is an accredited Kanban trainer. He brings to the table 2 decades of experience in software industry and a decade of experience in process and trainings. Our other speaker, Mr. Raju, is an enterprise agile coach. He embraces agile and holds more than 20 years of experience in it. He is also into agile transformation with several teams across the globe. I would now welcome our speakers and give the floor to them. Sir, you may take it ahead.
Thank you. Hi Sanjay, how are you doing? Long time, yes? Okay. Good evening and welcome all of you. We want to do this webinar differently, so I'm not going to run any PowerPoint presentation or something. I want to use this as an opportunity to share some experiences working with high performance teams, where you can also share your thoughts, your views, whatever it is. Okay, so let's get started. I hope all of you are doing well, safe and sound with the kind of situation that currently going on in the country. I wish and I pray soon we'll be out of this. Life will be back to normal. Now going back to the topic, Agile and Scrum, the secret to high performance teams. Let me begin with a question. What do you mean by a high performance team? Anyone? You can share your views. You can probably type that in the chat window. Anamika, can audience unmute themselves and talk?
I'll check with Ekta. She is taking care of it if they can do so. As of now, they cannot.
Okay, in that case, sorry audience for that, but you can let us know in the chat window. Some of you are already typing there, so you can continue to do so. In the meantime, my colleague Kalyan also has joined. Kalyan, I just started by asking a question. What do you mean by high performance teams? Okay, Kalyan is connecting to the audio. So anybody in the call? Do you want to share your views? What is meant by a high performance team? Okay, I got some inputs. Vijay Kumar Chauhan is telling getting productive. Okay, Munira Chalil E. Okay, to completing the project task on time. Annamalai Rajan says highly motivated and effective. That's a good one. Nirmal Kumar is telling high performance work team refers to a group of goal focused individuals with specialized expertise and complementary skills who are collaborative, innovative, and produce consistently superior results. A wonderful definition. We have Chiku Marita John saying deliver maximum in minimum time. Wow, typical management statement there. Then we have collaborative and focused, maybe an alias or an ID user there, B081374B, something like that. Sanjay Saha says doing the right thing in the right way. Karthik V. Planning and taking action plan, completing in deadline. Manmeet Singh says optimal approach. I'm getting wonderful responses. Awesome. Very good. Then we have Ramshad saying a high performance team is a group of highly skilled people working in cross-functional areas who focuses on achieving a common business. Good. Then we got optimal approach. So many are coming. Excellent. In interest of time, I'm just moving ahead. The last one I see is Shipra. She's telling high efficiency. Good. Anukrit Sharma is saying meeting deadlines with optimally utilizing resources. Very good. So all these definitions or all these thoughts that what we are hearing about a high performance or team is from our own experiences. What we hear from our managers who say that Agile is all about high performance teams, whatever. A project can be success as well as failure. It depends on what is meant by success. Right? I completed the project on time. Does it mean the project is success? I can't say unless until I get more information. Right? Similarly, I delivered what my customer wanted. Can I say my project is success? If I deliver beyond deadline, it may not be useful, right? So you hire a taxi, you want to go to the airport to catch a flight. The taxi fellow says, I will drop you in 40 minutes. He drops you exactly in 40 minutes. But by the time you went there, your flight has already taken off. For taxi fellow, the project is success. 40 minutes, he dropped you there. But for you, the entire purpose is gone. Your flight is gone. Right? So what do we mean by high performance teams? Any ideas from you, Kalyan? You want to share something here?
Absolutely. Great thought. I think the traditional world actually is being challenged here. When we speak about the time, cost, and scope is getting challenged, and delivering as per time, cost, and scope is not alone delivery or ways of working. We need to go beyond that to see what is the actual value that the client is getting received. Okay, what the end customer is receiving. So it is all about focusing on your value delivery that you are making to your customer. And that is what Raj is bringing out here, I think. And I'm sure Raj would add more. But yeah, that's what he's trying to add to start with.
Thanks. Thanks, Kalyan. Now see, any parent here, right? If you are a parent or you would have seen your parents, we are obsessed with comparison. Okay, so it is there from our childhood. My son got 85 marks, whereas my neighbor's son, same school, same standard. They both go to same school. And my son's friend, who is in the next door, he got 79 marks. Now we start comparing. I think my son is studying better. He got more marks or something, right? So we all do that. Then if my son got less marks, probably I would have scolded him. See, that guy has got more marks than you. You're always spending time in front of TV. You're spending time on mobile. You're playing that game, this game. But I see that guy is always reading. My son says, you see him only when he's reading. Yeah, you're not seeing him when he's watching TV. He's always spending time watching Spider-Man. You don't know that. Right? So what exactly is this high performance? And how do you create high performing teams? The anchor spoke about Scrum and Agile ways of working is one of the way in which we can do the projects. It's becoming a norm now. More and more organizations are getting into Scrum. So they want to embrace Agile ways of working. For that, there's a very, very fundamental ingredient, self-management. So what exactly is self-management? Self-management is the team will decide how they are going to work, not guided by some manager, architect, tech lead or somebody, right? So we all love Agile. We all want to get into Scrum. Whether you like it or not, organizations will say, no, my competition is getting into Agile. Let's also follow Agile. Do that, do this like that. I heard Agile is better way of working. Let's go there. Let's start working in Agile. But are you empowering your teams to self-manage themselves? Right? Are we doing it? No worries, Kalyan. Take care. Whenever you got time, come back. So are we empowering our teams? We don't know, right? So I told you just now I'm coming here from a client call. Now with my customer, we were doing a review because we're almost 8 sprints done. We are doing a review. Customer is very clear. There are about 8 teams working in the same project. So for this 8 teams, just a second, I'll be off on video for a few seconds. For this 8 teams, interestingly, customer is asking, I want to standardize. What is that you want to standardize? All teams, one story point is equal to 4 hours. One story point is equal to 8 hours. I want to standardize like that. It took some time for me to break that. So I was a little bit late coming into this webinar because I have to close the call and come back. I was talking there. I cannot absolutely cut my call and simply come and start the webinar. That's why it took some time. So it's all about culture and mindset that is required to help the teams becoming self-managing and all. Okay. So how do you create high performance teams? Let's look at few things. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is, this is open to all of you. What motivates team members? Anyone? You can share your thoughts here in the chat window. What do you think motivates team members?
Can I say something, Raju?
Yes, Sanjay, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, the team, you are asking, I think, about the entire team. Okay, so the team is motivated. They're like, whenever they succeed, they need some of the kind of like, it is not like a kind of reward, some of the like exclamation, or like they can some of the like, yeah, you have done the good job. There's some kind of like, yeah, some kind of like approval from the top management or from the team lead, so that they can understand the what they are doing is correct, and they are doing at the their high performance. Okay, and if we talk about the individual members, so that depends, because each individual is different and their psychology is also different.
Correct. Good one, Sanjay. Nice to hear you after some time. So I'm getting good inputs in chat window as well. Good appreciation. A lot of people are speaking about appreciation. Okay, ability to contribute to team success. Very good. Freedom and recognition. Empowering the team. I just read one paintbrush so that I can type those points here for you. Okay, so okay, the chart is disabled. Sorry to see that, Venkat. Give them a problem statement, autonomy, and provide a fail-safe environment. Very good. So you can use questions and answers. Both Maravanam, Kamaraj, and somebody who said chart window is not working. Okay, you can try that. Others are, I mean, same place where you ask this question, you can try that. Okay, so good inputs are coming. If you're not speaking, you can be on mute, please. Somebody not speaking, can you go on mute, please? Thank you. Sanjay spoke about this. I'm getting very good inputs in whatever the chart window, I call that as chart window. Good. See, to have a high performance team, we need some motivation, right? So one of the motivation that comes to these teams is having shared goals. What are the shared goals? I want to talk about a manager. We all know everybody has got a performance appraisal. We all go through performance appraisal cycle. So managers will come and say, this is my variable pay. If my team achieves this, I will get my target, my variable pay will come. But no manager will go and talk to the team like this. For example, hey team, I had given a target to generate 1 million US dollars as revenue this year. So if each one of you contribute to this, we get another engagement, another project, or one of your project gets extended, we'll be able to achieve it. So you guys tell me how you want to achieve the target. No manager talks like this. Instead of that, managers come and tell, I don't know what you do, don't take leaves, my billing is impacted. They work with sales, try to give all kind of promises, knowing that some promises can never be met. We get into all those kind of things, right? So a shared goal is a common goal. You already have these elements in Scrum. One is your product goal. Second one is your sprint goal. They both will help the entire teams to get focused, teams to get motivated. For anyone, if you achieve the goal, that itself is a big motivation, right? So that is one very important goal. If you look at teams which are playing in competitions like World Cups, Football World Cup, Cricket World Cup, any World Cup you take, right? The shared goal for the teams is to win the trophy. That is what motivates them. That is what lifts the game. Individuals will have their own target because individuals contribute in a team, right? For example, if you take football, you have a bad goalkeeper who doesn't do goalkeeping well. Even though your team is very good, you are scoring so many goals. If your goalkeeper is not good, you are also giving that many goals. So you may not reach to the finals because when the scores are equal, when the points are equal, they look at the goal difference. How many goals you scored minus how many goals you conceded. It's like net run rate in cricket. You will fail in that because your goalkeeper is giving so many goals, right? So ultimately for the team, the shared goal they're not able to reach because problem with one team member. That's why we use shared goal so that everybody has got a common alignment. One is product goal, second one is the sprint goal. Okay. Anything else like this, can anybody think of that can help the team to have a shared goal? Any other thoughts here from anyone? Please go ahead. Anybody? I'll just have my coffee. Okay. I saw one question from Manmeet Singh. What is Agile and Scrum? I'll spend exactly 2 minutes on that, not more than that, to help Manmeet. See, Manmeet, Agile is a thought process. Okay, Agile is the ability. Agility is ability. So you say a cheetah is more agile. A cheetah is more agile when compared to a snail because snail moves very slow, whereas the cheetah, you know, right, it has got best reflexes. So agile is a thought process. Agility is the ability. What is the thought process? Responding faster. Cheetah responds faster to change. Okay, that is what is agile. And Scrum is a framework that helps you to respond faster to change. Scrum is a framework. It gives you some guideline how you can respond faster to change. Okay, that is what Agile and Scrum is, Manmeet. They are used in developing projects, project management across all industries, IT, hardware, aerospace, various industries. That's what Agile and Scrum is. Okay, Manmeet. Now coming back to the shared goals, anything else anybody else can think of? What could be the shared goals?
Shared goal means everyone is working in the organization with a common goal, maybe for the client.
Very good. Typically in sales teams, you will see this, for example, in the year 2009, I was working with an organization. I can't name the organization for obvious reasons. We were working with an organization where I was handling all their applications. I mean, whatever IT systems which are live across the country, I was handling them. So one day, sales vice president came and said, Raj, check with developers. Can they come up with a system? Because we are going to run a competition across all our sales folks. Cool. His name was Harsh. I'll not give the last name so that you can easily find out which organization, whatever it is. I asked Harsh, we'll be happy to help you. What do you want? We are going to give targets to each salesman. You have to, salesman and saleswoman. You have to achieve this many sales. And we want to track it. Top 3 sales people, whomever does top 3 sales in each region, like North, East, South, and West, we are going to give them some prizes. For example, it could be vacation in Bangkok. It could be family vacation. Of course, with family, people doesn't go to Bangkok. It could be family vacation to some other place. Vouchers, you can buy something in Croma or electronic shops. Amazon was not so popular during that time. Like that. We started that. So dashboards were there. Every day, sales head, VP, Mr. Harsh was having the entire team and running through them. People were trying to motivate each other, all of that. For each region, after 2 months, we started one trend. The trend is the top 3 people who are there in each region. You can see how many sales they have done. How much sales they have done, you can see, because we want transparency there. So in my region, if I'm a salesman, I know who are the top 3 persons. And I know how much sales they have done also. So what I was doing, I was comparing myself with them. They have done 1,000 sales, for example. I have done only 600 sales. In the remaining time, I will not be able to do 400. No way for me, I know. I know how my market is, right? So that started demotivating me. So I was not doing sales calls. I will not get the reward. I cannot go to Bangkok. I cannot buy a TV with the voucher given by the company from Croma. So that demotivated, and only the top 3 started doing more and more sales. Rest all, we cannot reach them. Leave it. This kind of an attitude came in like that. So you have a shared goal there, telling company sales has to be increased. But how it was conveyed to the team, only the top 3 will get this. So having shared goals is not only the stuff, how we implement them, that's also important. So from this lesson, in the next year, we tried this. Trust me, it worked. What did we try in next year? No top 3. There's nothing like top 3. Anyone who does a sales of 1,000, for example, you will get a gift voucher. Anyone, no top 3 or something. Amazing collaboration happened between the teams. I'll just take some names as I see in the Zoom window. Sanjay has done 1,000 sales. He will get the gift voucher. Okay. Sanjay and Jasir MK, they both are very good friends. They work together. Jasir is having some 10-15 shortage in his sales. So Sanjay started passing his list to Jasir, telling, hey, Jasir, bhai, there's a lead here, go and try to do the sale. Because going to some places with friends, with known people is more enjoyable. Right? Mahantesh has done 998. Target is going to close tomorrow. So what Shipra is doing? Hey Mahantesh, there is one lead here. Is there in the apartment, 4th floor? Go and talk to him. You may get 10 more connections. Done. So people started sharing their leads with others. They don't want to go alone. Earlier, that was the case, top 3. But this time, they want help each other. We had to take a very big contingent to Goa because everybody helped each other. Okay. It was a huge expense for the organization. They could bear it because sales were also very good. So shared goals is very important, but how you implement it, how you do follow-ups, that's also very, very interesting one. That is one. Second is, with respect to intrinsic motivation, clear accountabilities. Everybody should know what is expected out of them. In the year 2004, I was working with Xerox, the document company, right? It has become so popular that you all know Xerox means photostat, right? It's a mission's name. Okay, but people say Xerox means photostat. It has become so popular. Okay, anyway, so I was working in the United States. One fine day, we got a mail from our CEO. CEO started appreciating one sweeper, a guy who manages the facility, okay, in one of their premises. You know what happened was there was a school which was running a competition for children in America.
Hello, good morning. Sorry, good afternoon.
Yes, Sanjay. Hello. Okay, those if you're not speaking, you can be on mute, please. So what happened there was the school was trying to operate a Xerox machine, you know, because Xerox as a company comes with products also which are installed in various schools and office premises, and they do management of them. Okay, they do management like refilling them, ensuring that the machines work like that. So one school was having this on their premises and they had a contract with Xerox. So Xerox was doing all kind of maintenance, all that kind of stuff. So they appointed one admin. I call them a sweeper because they do all management of the facility wherever machines are there. So the school children, they were having a competition and they wanted some photostat copies to be made. Xerox machine was not working. The toner was over. Okay. So children were very excited. They were waiting. They were feeling bad that photostat could not be taken. And what this guy did, you know, he called the call center telling we need toner and all like that. They came back telling toner is not available.
Raju, you're frozen. We're not able to hear you. You're not getting any sound. No picture.
Yeah, we're not able to hear you, Raju.
Hello, Anamika, any clue? What is
Yes, I'm checking with Raj.
Okay.
There is some issue. He's joining back.
Okay.
Now, can somebody type that in the chat window?
Yeah, Raju, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. So what happened was this guy tried to reach the call center telling I don't have a toner. Call center responded, we have toner, but to send the toner back to you, you know, like to your school and all, the transport person is not available. He is on vacation. We will send it only tomorrow. This guy looked at the students, children. They all were disappointed. So he took personal risk. He took his vehicle, went to other school in the same county where Xerox was also having same facility management services, borrowed the toner from that school, came back here, installed it, allowed the students to take photostats and all. He was given promotion. That guy was given a promotion. So that is what CEO was sharing. I don't remember the name. It was a lady who was heading Xerox during that time, 2003 and 4. She sent an email across to all the employees. So that facility guy was given a promotion. He was made as a manager, looking at his commitment like that, right? Clear accountabilities. So he was told, you are here in this facility, do whatever it takes so that the services expected from us are provided. That was clear mandate to him. Do whatever it takes. He did that. So clear accountabilities also will help our teams to become high performance teams or highly motivated. Okay, try this. How do you arrive at clear accountabilities? A simple RACI matrix. A lot of you will be using a RACI matrix. Responsible, accountable, that one. Just 1 second. Let me see if I can get the chart window. Where is my Zoom? Okay, I got the question and answer panel. Good. Just a second, I'm just trying to see any messages have come. Right. So we are looking at providing accountabilities to people. You're in the field, you're responsible for it. It is your job to ensure. Okay, clear accountabilities. I'll share one more incident. This is from cricket. You all might be knowing a cricketer called Sunil Gavaskar, a legendary opener. He was talking one statement. If you are a batsman, you are there in the field. Finish it for yourself. Don't leave it to others. Why he was telling like that is, in one of the matches with England, England gave a target about 400 plus to India. Okay. He was batting so beautifully, Sunil Gavaskar. He scored 221 runs in that match. Till the time he was batting, India, the chances of winning the match were very, very high. Okay. He scored 221. Unfortunately, he got out. The remaining batsmen who were sent, they tried to hit rash shots so that India can win. From a position of win, India was staring defeat. Somehow they managed to play the remaining overs. The match ended in a draw. India should have won it. You can check. I'm telling the truth. 221 by Sunil Gavaskar at Oval, I think, in England. You know which match it is. You can find out. Go to ESPN Cricket Info. You will find it out. So if you are there in the field, finish it. Don't leave for others, because once you fail, others may also fail. Clear accountability. I'm there. My job is to ensure that my team wins. That's it. The clear accountabilities also will help you to have high performance teams. Okay. That is one about intrinsic motivation. Then the second one, this all of you know, it is more about collaboration. How the team is collaborating with each other. So can any one of you tell me, what are the signs that your team is collaborating? What are the signs that your team is collaborating?
Maybe if your bundle chart is going good, coming down, probably then it is saying that, okay, fine, everyone is doing on and we are going towards the sprint goal.
Okay, good.
You see, there are conflicts. When the conflicts happening, you get to know they're collaborating.
Good.
When everybody knows what others doing.
Good. Okay, let's again look at something. One of the best example of collaboration we can draw is from ant. Okay, the ants, red ants, black ants, fire ants, whatever you call them, right? You all see beautiful collaboration. They are the best example for a team working collaboratively, because all ants contribute with each other, whatever they are doing. Therefore, one ant goes and finds the food. It doesn't try to eat it by all itself. It passes on the message. And the route taken to source of the food, you know, all other ants try to follow it. They collaborate with each other. If there's hazard in between, there's a danger in between, they try to see what is the danger, right? And they try to convey the message, all of that. Very good example of collaboration. Similar example you can draw from crows, the domestic crows, you know, the bird crow. So when they find a food, they shout so that other crows can come and eat. Some other animals are not like that. So they find food, they try to eat only for themselves. For example, dogs, they fight with others when they see the food. But crows are not like that. Okay, those are examples of collaboration. So when team members are struck, other team members are coming and helping them. I quote this example in my PSM class. I got good inputs here on collaboration. Annie Bhaskar is telling less issues are reported. Shipra is telling working together. Okay. So what I want to share with you is the collaboration is all about ensuring that how you are helping each other, right? In my career itself, I was a Scrum Master. Some of my team members, okay, asked this to me once. One of my team member asked me, my mother-in-law is going to come tomorrow. I cannot go and pick her up. It was in Bangalore. Can you go to the railway station and pick her up? I went to the railway station, picked her up, dropped her at house, called my team member back and said, yes, she is back at home. Collaboration is helping each other when there's a need, right? So are we able to do that? That is one thing that we need to take a look at. Can any one of you give any examples of collaboration that happens within your teams? Hello, anyone?
I see Rajani typing that transparency and communication between the team members is collaboration. Yeah, that's what I've seen. Noor says stand up calls. Okay.
This daily stand-up call is a good collaboration because every day everyone is giving their update and everyone at the same time. And everyone knows each other what is happening, what is the impediment, what is the common goal, where you are lacking behind.
Okay, good. That's a good point. Okay, so you know what is collaboration. So think about how your teams are collaborating. Are they collaborating well so that they can become high performance team, all of that. Okay, so the third key ingredient for teams in becoming high performance teams is it's all about, after looking at it, intrinsic motivation and collaboration. Kalyan, would you want to add the third point?
I would say, yeah, something like self-managing and cross-functional would be a very important thing as teams.
Yes. So go ahead, Kalyan. What is self-management? Yeah.
Right. So I would like to ask a question open to the floor and ask people, you know, what do they think about self-managing? And maybe you can add self-managing and cross-functional. Yeah, thanks. So what do you see as self-managing and what do you see as cross-functional? Any thoughts? Anyone wants to add anything? Please feel free to add.
Is self-managing
all members are working towards common goal. Okay, that is what Rajani says. Okay.
Yeah, somebody was speaking. You are self-motivated. You are doing this, and you are also having a collaboration with others to see the dependency. What is the dependency you have? Based on that, suppose if any work what I am doing have is a dependency with others. Suppose one task I will do in maybe in the second sprint, and if I see that one guy who is working, his task is getting delayed and he is supposed to do in the first sprint, so I will may reprioritize my work to so that he can get the right input on the right time. So that is called the self-managing and cross-function.
So when you talk about self-managing, what do you understand by self-managing in a team context? Because we are trying to talk about high-performing teams. So try put yourself the question, as a team, what does it mean to self-manage? What does it mean by self-managing?
Means you have the ownership completely on your own. So you can choose your own task to do and deliver it. You do not have to be wait for someone to get the order. That you have to do it somebody. It is a decentralized activity. That is agile. It is not a project management best activities that somebody will be commanding you. So that is self-management.
Correct. Perfect. It is not a command and control environment. It is an environment where we are expecting that the team is able to manage its work or its its task and its relevant activities that it is carrying on, its execution of the plan that it is created, right? And then it's trying to work towards it, and then they're trying to do that. Now, one of you just mentioned about daily Scrum, and we know that daily Scrum is a great place where this can happen, right? So during your daily Scrum, you will see that the team has to collaborate, and the team has to be self-motivated, and the team has to self-manage themselves. Okay. Now, what does self-manage now? Self-manage means to see, oh, Raj is on leave for some personal reason, he couldn't come. Now, Raj was working on a very relevant or a key important goal, which is probably one of the first stepping stone of what we agreed to deliver as a team. Now, let's say that Raj, we had 5 items we agreed as a team, A, B, C, D, E, and Raj was supposed to deliver A, and Raj had agreed to start working on it, and he started working on it. Now, remember that the ownership is not with the individual who's working on it. The ownership is always with the team. Okay. Now, unless the team realizes that the ownership is with the team will think, okay, it is assigned to Raj, it is a Raj's headache. Come what may, come, tsunami or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. He has to finish it. And if he doesn't finish, he'll have to let us know. That is the approach that many teams take, which is the wrong approach. We should rather start thinking in a way, okay, as a self-managing team, we have to say, okay, if Raj didn't come today, fair enough. Has Raj taken just an off for today, or is he not going to be there? Should we take care of the Raj's item because Raj was working on the highest priority item? The goal is always customer centric. Please understand, okay? The customer centricity should never be lost in anything that you do. The more you are customer centric, all of this will automatically fall in place. Okay? The problem with us is we are trying to manage people, and we are trying to manage work. We are trying to manage everything, everything we want to manage. Okay. And nothing gets managed. That is the bigger problem. Okay. So the best part or best recommendation I always say is keep yourself customer centric. When you are customer centric, you will do what is needed to fill in. Okay. Now assume there is a marriage in your house and big marriage is going to happen. Let's say some 1,000 or 2,000 people are going to come. 1,000 plus people have to come for a reception. How would you prepare as a team? Who will step in? You never know who will step in, right? Everybody who's part of the family will probably step in and say, hey, tell me you have something to do. Please let me know. I can help you. And maybe still there are 1 or 2 people who are guiding or who are keeping a track of what's happening, what has not happened and all that. But then there is a lot of self-involvement from the team members to self-manage and do things and take also some decentralized decisions as well, and also execute few things, and then maybe come back and notify, hey, I went for this, I didn't get this, so I bought something else because this is probably an equivalent, and then I came back with this. And then the other person is going to say, oh, you didn't get it? That's bad, but it's okay. You did a good thing that you at least bought this. We will manage with this right now. So that is something that you will have to do even within your teams. Now, why you will have to do all of this? Why self-managing and being cross-functional is so important? It is because, remember, the world is completely VUCA in nature. Okay, everything is volatile, uncertain, and everything is unknown, and it is all ambiguous, and all of that complexity and confusion is there. So what you need to do is, unless you are self-managing and self-organizing as a team, you will not be able to collaborate, put everything together into place, and then deliver the value. And that is the reason we are saying that the Scrum teams, the team which is working on Agile, for that matter, any Agile, any framework that you follow, you have to be self-organizing and you have to be cross-functional. Now, cross-functional is not that everybody has to be cross-functional. Okay, remember that a team should be comprising of specialists. A team should consist of generalists as well. It should be a combo of these two to become a great team. You cannot have all batsmen and form a cricket team. It is allowed. No rule stops you, but you will not form a team like that. Okay?
RCB is an example.
Yeah, you would always want to form a team. No problem, Raj. Thank you for that. Great example. I am not as good as Raj in cricket, so I'm sure he can give better examples than me on that. But when you talk about cross-functional teams, remember that concept of specialist generalist. In short, specialist means a person who is very good at one thing that they do. Okay, they are like the master of it. Any question I have in Scrum, I would go to Raj and ask him, because he's a PST, he's the master, he's the trainer, he's the coach, he's everything for us in our company for us right now. Okay. And similarly, for some other topic, people would come to me because maybe I am a good at something else. So there are specialists who are available, right? And then these people are required in every team. Now imagine a team of all mediocre performers, and then it will just fall flat. You will never improve, you will never grow, you will never be challenging. It will be a boring thing. Okay. So that is not a good thing as well. So you can't have all generalists and you can't have all specialists. You need a combo. In a Scrum team, typically I recommend at least 2 to 3, max 4 cross-functional guys, not more than that. But the rest should be some specialist hardcore guys who can actually take ownership, roll up the sleeves and work on anything that comes to them in their area and deliver it. Now, where do cross-functional people also help? When the specialist is on leave, they can actually chip in. I'll give you a beautiful example. I know I'm falling short of time. I usually take too much time. That's why I don't talk in the beginning. But yeah, let me finish this example. When you go to McDonald's stores, or when you go to a Burger King or any of these, fast food giant chains in the shopping malls, you would see that they would open new counters if required. If the queue is big, they will open a new counter. And somebody from back will come and start doing the work or billing. They will take your orders basically, because you are in the mall and they don't want to lose the customers. So they will just open up multiple counters and take all the orders, because they don't want a customer waiting in the queue to get fed up and go to the next shop nearby, right? In the food court. So they will take the order from you. So for doing that, now this guy, when he comes and he starts, he will not know what to do. He will always ask help from the manager or ask help from the relevant person in the next queue, who will come and help him for a second or a minute and then go back to their work. Now, why do they do that? Because this person is a generalist. He helps in the kitchen to pack things. He also comes and helps in the counter to take the order. Okay. Now these people pitch in depending on where the workload is more and what is required and all that. Now, typically, remember, most people who are starting off in a team, or they have to be playing the role of generalist so that they can learn more. They can get to the context very clearly and faster. You have to ideally promote those people to do more of those kind of work. And people who are well experienced and hardcore strong guys, you have to tell them, it's good that you have I skills. Try to move to T or to Pi if you can. That will be great for us. That's how you have to start asking them to move. You can't force them to move. Remember, because these guys, and if they don't like you, then they will tell you, okay, I'm off, I'm going, bye. And then they'll be off. Not only from your team, but also from your organization, because they don't like doing other things and you're pushing them to do that. Now, I've had managers, coaches, people come and talk to me and tell me this problem, that they're trying to create a cross-functional team of all members are cross-functional. That's a chaos, I'm telling you. Please don't do it. Over to you, Raj.
Thank you, Kalyan, for that. So, everyone, these are the 3 ingredients. You don't need hundreds of ingredients to create high performance teams, right? Intrinsic motivation, collaboration, self-managing, and cross-functional things. Now, on top of this, the ultimate thing that creates high performance teams is the required knowledge for the trade. Whatever industry, whatever domain, do you have the relevant knowledge, relevant skill set like that? That is where you need to leverage whatever is available to you within your organization. Go to your L&D learning and development department, like that, all of that. So they can help you. For example, myself and Kalyan, we do a lot of trainings for a very big organization. Let's not give the name. Okay, they are very good in developing a lot of products. Kalyan spoke about McDonald's. So McDonald's is our client's client. Okay, GE, General Electric, they are our client's client. Okay, there are several organizations like this where they client. But what do? Every year they ensure that in the workforce, people are given the knowledge. How do you get the knowledge? One way of that is from a training, a formal education. Certification is a way of validating it, but ultimately it is the knowledge that matters. Kalyan also spoke about generalists. So if you look at McDonald's or something, everybody will be trained on what exactly the shop does, right from the day from the point customer enters till he takes order and goes out, he or she. Everybody is aware of it. That is the training they give. That is the knowledge that they provide to the teams so that they'll be able to handle any kind of situation. Okay. So these are the 3 most important ingredients. We are saying there are only 3 ingredients because they are like a tripod. Okay. So if you miss one of tripod, right? It's having 3 legs. This is a 3rd leg, and on top of it, this is a tripod. If any one of leg is broken, the tripod will not stand. It will fall. If it is having 4 legs, even when one of the leg is not even, the stool or a chair will stand, but not in case of a tripod. That's why this is like a tripod. If any one of them is not there, you cannot have a high performance team. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Thanks, Kalyan, for that. That is collaboration, right? So Kalyan has posted our LinkedIn profiles in chat window. You can reach out to us. There was one question from somebody, Srijit Bhattacharya. How is Agile different from other SDLC methods? I answered it there. Any questions, anything? Let us know. If nothing is there, over to you, Anamika.
Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot for such an interactive and informative session which you both have conducted. Yes, the floor is open for question and answer. If there is any questions left, we can take up these questions and sir can answer them. In the meantime, sorry, please.
I have a question. So how do you predict that when there's a high performance team, the team is not burning out?
What do you mean by burning out here? I mean, their motivation levels are low. Internally, there are problems or conflicts. Do you mean that one?
Well, not that. When the team is on a high performance mode throughout, at a point of time, there can be a dip, or they just need a break or something, and they are going to burn out, or they just kind of need to realign themselves because they've been working throughout continuously. So when it happens, yes, you can figure out and you can support them. But how would you, as a Scrum Master, how would you be able to predict that and plan for it?
Very good question. Excellent question. See, it is natural progression that there'll be ups and downs. And down is good because next will be up only, right? When you throw a ball down, it bounces back. It doesn't stay there, right? So Scrum Master can see that. One is, this is where Scrum Master should have a very good human connect. What do you mean by human connect is not that shaking everybody's hands. That is verbal communication. Look at non-verbal communication, okay? Look at the body language of your team. How are they coming to your Scrum events? Okay, is there motivation there? Do you see dull shoulders? People are not occupied. Somebody is talking, others are busy on mobile phone or something. These kind of things will give an indication, okay? So even the language, the way we compose our emails, the way we talk, my God, some more work has come, done, my weekend is gone. My life is ruined. There is no work-life balance. Weekend never ends. So you start looking at non-verbal communication, non-verbal clues like that, try to find out. That can help you a lot, number one. Number two is, once you know team is giving this kind of signs, you should have a one-on-one with those people. Scrum Master is also a coach, right? So have a one-on-one with them. For example, I see, I'm just taking a name as an example. Some RN is not behaving as expected in my team. We immediately talk to RN. Why? I will give my own example. See, we in Zebia, we are part of our Agile team, where when we talk, you know, my colleagues will immediately pick up. Sometimes I speak with very low voice. There's another reason for it. I'm telling the truth to you, okay? Because everybody is working from home today. Most of the time you are having headphones and talking, which is not good for health. So what I do is, when I don't have calls, I remove the headphones. I switch on to my laptop speakers. Okay. So, you know, laptops come with speaker as well as 3.5 mm jack, where you can connect a external headphone or something. I use 3.5, not a USB kind of a headset. So what happens is, when I switch over from laptop speakers and mic to my headphone, you know, my voice will drop. Immediately other people are able to catch it up. Kalyan himself asked me 2-3 times, Raj, your voice is very low. Even today when I started this webinar, one of you were telling, Raj, your voice is very low. I have to adjust because I switched from speakers to headphones. So this kind of a thing, you know, like you can find out when people's tone, the way they speak, all of that. I'll tell you on a funny note, the status messages they put in WhatsApp also tells you that they're really bond apart. Okay. I had seen, unfortunately, a couple of them.
Raj, I would like to add one thing here, okay, especially to answer the question that was asked, okay. Now, the best way to handle it over a period of time, I would say, is look at how are you loading your teams in the first place. Okay. Now, to answer this question, how are you loading your teams? I want to ask all of you a simple question, okay? Answer yourself, you don't have to tell me. Now, if your CPU performance on your laptops and computers that you are watching us right now goes above 95% or 98%, and then you want to make a note of what we are saying, so you are trying to open Microsoft Word in parallel, tell me what would happen. It will freeze, just like my picture, correct? It will just freeze as if I frozen just now, correct? Nothing will happen. It will just say Microsoft Word, but nothing will, it will just say loading, loading, loading. It will keep on loading, but never load, and the webinar will get over, right? You will never be able to take your notes. Now, what does that mean? You have overloaded the system. Now, when system overloading does not work effectively, how do you expect human overloading to work effectively in the first place? Please don't do it. Okay.
At least the system is having the right to say no to you by hanging, right? So it just hangs. And system is having a 3-finger salute, Control-Alt-Del. Humans doesn't have it, unfortunately. You cannot hang. I mean, literally not the literal meaning of hanging. Don't take me in that sense. You just cannot shut away from people and saying, no, I can't do this or something. This is what, you know, there was a popular joke on LinkedIn. A Indian guy, I mean, they were comparing people taking vacation, you know, European will say, I am on vacation, please reach out to me only in September. The guy will very clear. Whereas Indian guy will say, I'm going for kidney surgery, If anything is urgent, call me, I will respond.
Yeah,
Right?
no, I will be away for 2 hours. Please, if you need something in between, please call me on my phone. That's how the message was actually.
Yeah. And even one person said in a marriage, yeah, the guy is getting married, but he's attending constantly on falls because there was a P1 issue. Yeah. I don't know what impression his wife had on that time, whether I'm important or P1 issue is important for him. So literally the guy was about to tie the knot with his wife, P1 escalation, right? Imagine. But people do take those calls, right? So burnout is a common issue. Work from home is not work 24/7. Right? Probably 24/7 is exaggeration. Work from home is not 16/7 or 12/7, depending on how many hours.
Check out techniques like Pomodoro or some other techniques which can help you manage your work effectively. Give breaks in between and all that. Because Pomodoro as a technique talks that, okay, hey, work 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, again work 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, then half an hour break. So the third time you take a break, you take a longer break. And then you do the same thing again. So when you do techniques like this, or when you apply certain options like this, you become really more productive, and you also are available for your family in between. Now remember that they also expect you because you are at home. Obviously, it's not wrong on their part. Now you've occupied their space. You have taken away one room from the home. And now you are claiming that is your office. And you are telling them not to come inside the room. And you're not allowing them inside. And you are ruling. And then you're not giving time to them in spite of being at home. Now imagine how much cruel things we are doing to them, right? So compared to that, if you see, I think these kind of techniques are really very helpful when you start practicing and when you start planning your things and work.
Any other question, anyone? Sorry, Kullan, you're about to say something?
No.
Hello, Raju.
Yep.
Just one thing. Just the point to collaboration and self-managing, are not they interdependent?
They are. Okay.
Because without self-managing, you cannot collaborate.
Correct. Forced collaboration doesn't work. Okay. So collaboration should be natural, and it should be helping it towards a shared goal or common understanding that the team is having. You are right.
Thank you.
So have we answered these 2 questions which are being displayed in our QA forum? One by Jasleen, the other one by Siva Aditya.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, we can wrap it up. I have just shared a survey link with all of you in our chat portal. Kindly take few minutes of your time and share the feedback of this webinar with us. In the meantime, I will just share my screen with all of you where you can just let me know if you're interested in any of our certifications on Scaled Agile or Scrum.
So while we close this, thank you everyone for your time. Okay, because there's a power cut at my home. Unfortunately, my battery is inverter battery is also dead. So laptop is about to go for a shutdown. So I will say bye now. Thank you everyone. Let there be light at least.
And thank you, Raju, and be in good health.
Thank you, Raj.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. Thank you everyone. And Vijay Lakshmi Rajagowda, nice to see you. Good luck for you. Thank you, and thanks Anamika. Thanks Kalyan. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Raj.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raj.
Yes, so anybody who will be interested in joining and taking the certifications, I will be dropping your email and the number as well in the chat portal. You guys can contact us accordingly. And yeah, thanks again for the session. Thank you, Kalyan, for taking out time and giving us information on the topic. And yeah, have a nice day. Have a nice evening.